Welcome back. I'm Joe. These are your fashion questions. Let's get into it. Tariffs are coming in January. Brands are going to try to push their manufacturers for lower costs, which is going to lead to substitution of products and trims and fabrics, thus an inferior product. Wait, post-pandemic, apparel makers already did the substitution bait and switch. How many more substitutions can be made now? You'd be very surprised on how an entire perception of clothing can change if everybody's making these substitutions. So when it comes to clothing quality in general, I think everyone's aware clothing quality is going down. What is going to stop that process from happening is by hopefully stuff like this, where we educate the community on what good clothing is. Because if the community starts demanding better clothing and they stop purchasing poor quality clothing, it will force brands to make that pivot. For now, if we don't change that path that we're on, brands will find lighter weight fabrics that are looser knit, and ultimately market their way through to people's wallets instead of actually creating good products that people want to purchase. All the way on Instagram writes, so if you're just starting out, what do? My brand is built on quality. Do we just say, screw you to the customer? What you need to do, even if there's a lot of tariffs, is either A, focus on different manufacturing regions, or two, understand that your products are gonna cost more, so you need to do a lot more work in building that community. You need that word of mouth. And how do you get that word of mouth? One is a strong narrative and identity of why people should be a part of your brand and why they should wear your brand to outwardly project what they represent. Two is a good quality product, so they will wear that product and they will tell others about it. It's going to be much harder. The days of just starting a brand and running Instagram ads are gone. You need to be very grassroots now, whether it's digitally or in person. Evelyn Lay on TikTok writes, wait, so it's all coming from the same place? So this is in regards to the video we did on elastics. A lot of the times, factories will manufacture for various different brands, from very high-end boutique items down to bargain basement items, sometimes all in the same place. I've been to sock factories where they're running Reebok beside Cole Haan, beside Calvin Klein, all in the same machinery, just different yarns, different colors, different packaging. So yeah, a lot of the times you are just paying for the brand. Alpha Digit Unboxing on YouTube writes, does this guy have his own clothing brand? His attention to detail to clothing is elite. Well, thank you. Currently, my entire business is all B2B. We work with brands and celebrities to develop collections for them, help them manufacture, slot them wherever they need to, and basically go full end to end. But I've been hearing you guys, and we will be launching a brand. It's gonna be very different than what you think traditionally brands are. There's gonna be no launches, there's gonna be no drops. Everything is going to be taking you on a journey of our product creation process. So you know every single input that's going into that product that you're able to buy. Think of it like a cooking show where you can basically eat the recipe in. That's what we're gonna be doing. Stay tuned, we have something really cool coming. You guys always ask me what shirts I'm wearing. Maybe it'll be a shirt. Altmore Infant School on TikTok writes, how do you decide the pricing on the garments? So I'm assuming that you mean when I give the pricing of the garments we review. A lot of times it's just based off of my experience. We've manufactured millions of garments over the years, and we've manufactured in different regions, and manufactured in different types and different quantities. So based off of the materials, the workmanship, the region, I have a pretty good idea of what it should cost. However, if you're talking about how brands price garments, that's really gonna be specific on the brand and what they need to achieve what they want for their ultimate customers. You know, some customers are gonna be high-end luxury brands. They're gonna charge a lot because they want really beautiful stores. They want a lot of staff to be able to service you, have a very private atelier experience. That's gonna cost a lot. As well as marketing with celebrities, that's gonna cost a lot. Some brands are just gonna move volume and they don't need all these kind of bells and whistles. That's really gonna be dependent again on every specific brand. Aqua Blue on TikTok writes, how much dye continues to release from fabrics? So that's what's gonna be called in the industry color fastness. And that means how well is that color fixed to the fabric and how much of it will release. One thing we do in the industry is we test with these test strips. They're called multi-fiber test strips, and they have cotton, polyester, nylon, acrylic, wool, etc. And you're going to put it through a wash, and you're going to see how much of that color will bleed onto this. Typically, you're going to heat set a lot of these colors into the fabric, and you're going to be washing it anyway to remove the excess dye. Certain colors will always have bleeding issues. Hot pink, I've almost always seen bleeding issues with hot pink. It's very susceptible to coming out into wash into all your other clothing. So if you have any hot pink or very bright, vibrant neon colors, wash those separately for the first few washes. Roracinos on TikTok writes, why does it have such a specific machine? And this with regards to the pill testing machine. Let me show you how it actually works. So what we have here, it's called a Martindale pilling tester. And what it does is you basically get your fabric, you'd place it onto this disc, and it rubs the fabric on, this is what's called a wool abradant. It's a fabric with a known abrasion level. You can do whether 1,000, 2,000, X amount of cycles to simulate advanced and aggressive wear and tear. It goes through a figure-8 pattern, so it ensures that you're evenly wearing the fabric. And at the end, you're able to see if the fabric will pill or not. And it's a very repeatable test standard. DeLorean on TikTok writes, won't everything pill eventually? So no, that's actually not the case. A lot of natural fibers that are shorter, what's called staple fibers like cotton, 100% cotton garments won't pill. They'll just lint off in your laundry. Where you're getting pilling is when you're mixing in synthetic yarns. So a polyester where it is a continuous fiber. And what happens is these fibers break. So think they're like yarns like this, and then they break. Now you have all these fuzzies. And then through friction and abrasion, they basically rub, and then they rub into each other and they create this ball. That is what causes pilling. And certain fabrics itself will be very pilling resistant. Like you're not gonna get pilling on a Gore-Tex type jacket. That kind of fabric is just too smooth and it's gonna be very pill resistant. A lot of duck fabrics for workwear pants are gonna be very pill resistant. You're gonna get a lot of pilling when it comes to knit, synthetic fibers. Mike Adelphi on TikTok writes, do you have any suggestions for really durable brand of blanks? Stay tuned. We did a video with Will Lazary and we reviewed 7 different blank brands for hoodies and we did it blind. We kind of went through all the different parameters to rank them. So that's gonna be coming out soon. Liz.net on IG writes, is it true that fabric softener worsens your clothing over time? So I don't know if it necessarily worsens it, but it sure definitely masks the degradation of the garment. What fabric softener does is it coats every single yarn with a chemical softener. So your clothing will appear very soft and it feel very soft, but you're just feeling the chemicals on the surface of the fabric. What I would say is for the most part, you can avoid fabric softener, wash your clothing in cold, look at the care instructions, and just take care of your garments over time. If you want them to last a long time, hang dry. The dryer is the worst culprit for destroying your clothing. That's it for this week. Thank you so much for your questions. Be sure to follow us on social media and put your questions down below to be featured in the next episode.